Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Julie's Orchids. On the table before you, you see a whole bunch of struggling plants. Today's video is a combination mini haul. I was gifted orchids to save, and we'll discuss how I'm going to save these plants, hopefully. Unfortunately, we had a pretty significant power outage in Perth's northern suburbs today. Been really humid and rainy following a pretty harsh dry spell, and the combinations just set up perfectly for the tops of the power poles to catch on fire. And there was, I think, 2,100 plus homes in the northern suburbs of Perth, Western Australia, without power this morning. Mine has finally come back on. Let's talk about these plants a little bit more and less about the power outages here in Perth. Alrighty, so you can see here that we have a combination of some Cattleya types and some Dendrobium types. And you can also see by looking at them that none of them are doing very good. As I mentioned, we were without power today, so I've repotted some of them up this morning, and I didn't really have any good light with which to help record. So I did not record these, so I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown of what I've done and why. So first off, I went ahead and repotted all of these that you can see are in my preferred setup because all of them were rootless wonders. They were falling out of the pots that they were in. This one here is rooted in nicely, so it's staying put until I think about more of what I'm going to do with this dendrobium. The rest of them were totally rootless wonders, but our saving grace is that all of them have new growths. So no roots to worry about losing. We just have to hope that there's enough energy in these plants, and some of them are better than others, that there's enough energy in these plants to at least get the roots going. These are going to be, if I can save them, they're going to be severely set back, very severely set back. All right, so we're going to take these by groups, and we'll start with the genre that I historically have struggled with, which is the Cattleya types. This is what you see before you are 5 different types of Cattleyas. Some of them are tagged, some of them are not. This one doesn't have a tag, but you can see that all of them are really, really dehydrated and suffering, but they all are making new growths. Now, normally with Cattleya types, and this is where I struggled, is I would get a Cattleya, I'd bring it home, I'd get it out of the old bark mixture and immediately repot it when I got home. And you don't want to do that with Cattleya types. So Cattleya types, you want to wait for their new growths to actually start root nubbins before you repot them. However, as I mentioned, all of these plants that I got gifted to me to save, all of them were already rootless wonders. Their roots were dry and desiccated. They were falling over in their pots. All of them have got some form of a little new growth or another. Some of them are more advanced, some of them less. I don't think this one back here is going to survive. Its new growth is the smallest of all of them, and as well as this one. So these two I don't think are going to make it, but I think these 3 will, and they are going to be excessively set back. So I'm not looking for any blooms on these anytime soon. So again, as I mentioned with Cattleya types, you really want to wait for their new growth to start root nubbins before you repot them. Again, I'm going to stress that I repotted these even though their new growths have not started making root nubbins yet, because I wasn't going to damage the roots anyway. They were already dead. These plants are excessively desiccated, not much reserves for these to grow. And as I mentioned, these were gifted to me of, if you can save them, you can have them, and if not, well, they're going. You can see how very desiccated these are. It's already lost this new growth, but we've got this one here. So this one I don't think is going to make it. This one, I'm half and half on. This one I think is the best of all of them. We've got a nice healthy growth. There's still a lot of reserves in the back pseudobulbs, This one I think is going to make it. This one here I don't think is going to make it again. It is very desiccated, dry, suffered from the heat. We've got a little tiny new growth growing here. We do have 1, 2, 3, 5 pseudobulbs, but again, they're already very desiccated. So I don't know if this one is going to make it, which is kind of disappointing because it's a species. But we'll see. And then here's the last one. And again, I'm pretty sure this one's going to make it because the pseudobulbs, whereas they are desiccated, they're not paper thin like some of the other ones. And it's got a nice healthy size, new growth coming. So you guys will have to subscribe and be sure to check in and follow up as we do follow-ups on this group. I'm going to start including more of the Cattleyas in my videos because I now have more of them, and I'm getting a little bit more encouragement from fellow YouTubers, particularly Justin up in the Netherlands with Justin's Dutch Tropicals. He's been really supportive of me to get trying this genre again. I've done a lot of internet research. I've gone back and reviewed Ninja Orchid videos on Cattleya Care and Cattleya Alliance Care. Why did I do that? A, I highly respect Nina's growing, and B, she's in a very similar climate to me here in Perth. Yeah, if anyone I want to get advice on these, it's her. She grows in leca, I grow in pumice, but we both grow inorganically. I can learn from her even though she's an outdoor grower most of the time and I'm an indoor grower. There's still a lot I can learn from her. So if you guys are struggling with this alliance and you live in a similar to where Nina's at in southern Spain, or almost deserty climate where I'm at here in Perth, I highly suggest you check her out. I do suggest you give me a follow to see how these are going, to see what I've learned, if I can save these or not. And yeah, so here's 5 new Cattleyas to recover and hopefully not kill. Now these ones here would represent some Dendrobiums. I don't want to sound horrible, but I have plenty of Dendrobiums, and if I can save these, I'm going to put them back up for sale after they've recovered them, unless they have just way too beautiful blooms. But as you can see, again, these also were rootless wonders. I've got them very well staked, secured in the pots, same way with the Cattleyas. But we've got little new growths coming on both of these here. But again, as you can see, they're just really desiccated and have really suffered through the recent heat. The grower I got these from grows outside and just wasn't able to keep up with things. They've given them to me. What am I doing with these? Waiting for new growths to put out roots. Other than that, I'll keep the substrate, the pumice, moist, just to help with humidity. And that's the same thing I'm going to do there. I'm going to continue to keep the pumice moist just to help humidity around the pot to sort of encourage things. Now I did put a top dressing on both pots of non-porous river stones. And the reason for that is I wanted to make sure that the roots can actually get down, get into that pumice before anything could dry them out. And I have noticed for some Dendrobiums, I can't talk for Cattleyas, but for some Dendrobiums, if they go out onto the pumice directly, the pumice, I guess, sort of pulls some of the moisture out of the root and it dies. But the ones that I've got the top layer of the decorative river stones on don't do that. This one back here looks like a cakey making monster, and I'm actually trying to decide if I'm going to keep this one or not. It's got a good root system. It's well rooted in the pot. I don't know that I need another Dendrobium that's going to make so many cakeys. My Bigibum variety compactum is a cakey making monster, as is another one of my Dendrobiums. I believe it's Berry Oda. And this one's not even tagged. So I don't know what the name is. I think this one just might go on the sales lot because I'm not sure I'm going to keep it. It's a pretty big plant. It's in a hanger. And as I mentioned, I have more than enough Dendrobiums. So these Dendrobiums, when they're recovered, are going to go up for sale. Those Cattleyas, well, hopefully we don't kill them. All right, guys, so a general little orchid chat mini haul. Oh yeah, one more thing we can do. These are all new plants to the collection. What am I going to do with them? Now, we all know that a few months ago I was struggling with some spider mites because I didn't isolate the plants quite well enough. Well, It's 3-day weekend this weekend, and I've been really busy doing a lot of deep cleaning and rearranging and organizing of things of the house, stuff that I've been unable to do because of my injury. And now the injury is healed as well as it's going to do. And I've gotten the house a little bit more organized, specifically the office. So I have created in the office space a nice place to isolate these plants where they'll get some sunlight from the window. They're in the office, they're going to be away, well and removed from the orchid grow room and even the orchids in my living lounge room. So that's what you want to do. When you get new orchids in, no matter what, do not put them directly into your collection. Isolate them off. So I'm going to put these guys to this point where I'm going to have them in isolation. And then we'll go and have a look at the office and I'll show you where I'm putting them. Okay, so this is my office. And this is where I'm keeping my plants that are in isolation. And you can tell they're in their own little room. That little window will give them maybe not as much light as they need, some days too much. In the summertime, it gets really a lot of light, but we're heading from summer into fall. This is where I have to put them for now. There's going to eventually perhaps be a small shelf here with some lights just for that purpose. My friend Lynn, who's moving to Thailand, has given me that little shelving unit there, which is a great place to nicely store my pumice and decorative pebbles and to tuck my little cart there and out of the way. Alrighty, well, let's go into the grow room and look at something a little bit prettier than almost dead orchids. So we'll end today's video having a look at Psychopsis butterfly in bloom. I'd like to thank you guys very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. A subscribe is always appreciated. Have a lovely day, and thank you again.